Hello and welcome to another episode of The Heart of the Equation. After quite some time, we were looking forward to doing this and we're so happy to be back again and hopefully with a new season and lots of new updates for you. So we are going to just have like a live update in this episode. We're not following a specific topic. We just wanted to let you know what we are doing and how things are going to sort of go on here. So yeah. Hi, Pragati. How are you?
Hi, Sara. I'm well. It's been a long time indeed. So I'm very happy that we are kickstarting or restarting this again. It's also like a new season. The sun has finally stopped punishing us
Yeah.
since the last couple of days. It's been a very hot summer. Of course, I think our listeners would also agree that this has probably been, in the 10 years of me living in Switzerland, this has probably been the worst summer that I've experienced. So there were people who were visiting us for summer and they were like, oh my God, we will never visit you on during summer again. So it's been a very special time. That also was one of the reasons for the break, right? Because it was just
Yeah.
dealing with so much that was happening in life because of all
Yeah.
these weather changes.
Yeah, I mean, weather was part of it, but we, all three of us, Anissa is not here today. I think she's still on her last days of her vacation.
Yeah.
We didn't want to disturb her. We all had so many changes this year. Anissa was going through like role changes. You also like had your massive, was it your change to university? Was it this year or was it end of last
It
year?
was last year, and as a matter of fact, August is the month that I've completed a year at the Fachhochschule, and I am
Gosh.
now an established lecturer, and I can give you like a very honest take on how it's been because I didn't just change roles, I changed my whole career.
Yes, yes, yeah, it was a massive thing. It feels like it was
I
yesterday because
know.
after all those years as like in Accenture running teams and, it's very different to be in academic environment. I've never experienced being directly in the academic environment, just did some teaching here and there. But yeah, so now you've had a year of that.
Yes, and I must say that I can now confidently say that I really loved it.
Mm.
I think I loved last autumn the most because that's when I had started teaching. If you remember, I was teaching, like, I'm still going to be teaching 5 lectures a week. And that translates to 20 hours of teaching a week, which is
Oh,
more,
that's a lot.
which is bigger than 100% job. But the great thing about being in this academic environment is that it flows. It's
Yeah,
never always like my previous life in consulting, which was always like, you cannot dip. A dip is usually maybe when you're changing a job or you're sick or, something, or you're on a vacation, but there are no very sharp, these waves of, when you'll be working too much and then you'll have this time where you can recharge and relax, which was one of the things that I appreciated the most because I had a very intense autumn semester and now I'm ready for another intense one because I've had these waves flow through. And it's been different, like work's different. I don't have a full inbox all the time. I don't have my calendar with 3 consecutive meetings at the same times and like playing bingo of which one am I going to attend. So all of this is nice, but that doesn't take away the fact that the work has become any less.
yeah.
It's different, but I think this is a misconception where people feel that the work is, that it's going to be.
I don't think it ever happens. It's just, on social media, they're selling us this picture of, I don't know, quitting 9 to 5 or even like, I mean, I have a coaching business and I see a lot of people think that it's a very easy business or I don't know. There is no such a thing as super easy sitting down passive income unless you have like built up a lot in the background and there is a lot of automations or I don't know, you have very good investment portfolio.
Yeah.
But that's like as long as you're working, I think there is some kind of challenge. That's just part of it.
Absolutely. Like they say, in parenting, the challenges change as your children grow up. So it goes from more physical to emotional. And that's the same in careers as well. It's just that you are working a lot. There is no free lunch. And I think we've discussed this extensively on the podcast as well so many times. But your roles and your responsibilities and your challenges change. Not to
Yeah.
take away from the fact that, you know, the work has become remarkably less. And I wouldn't even like that if that was what was happening.
Yeah. 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 What I am experiencing is that the work is not less, but things that used to bother me in the past don't bother me as much. Like, especially when you run your own business, there are sometimes you have to make like some big decisions and they could be a little scary in terms of investment. I used to lose sleep over certain topics, let's say 2, 3 years ago or like much earlier.
Mm.
Now I'm like, yeah, worst case, I'm going to lose money. But then as long as my brain works, I could earn that money. I've lost a bit of like sensitivity to a lot of things. I think for me, that has been a bit easier. And also in the past, like I think the biggest challenge at work is not the work, is some of the people and relationships. And certain people could be a little difficult to work with, and you just can't avoid,
And that
there's
doesn't go
always
away.
like,
That doesn't go away
yeah,
wherever you go, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a lecturer, you're a
yeah.
professor, you are in the corporate world. Of course, people think that in the corporate world, it's, you know, kind of multiplies. But let me tell you guys, the challenges which comes with the people aspect of any job, they stay.
Yes, it's just, it has to do with us and how we're going to approach it or how much we're going to be bothered. So yeah, I see I'm less and less bothered. So it feels like maybe it comes with age,
Comes
maybe
with
it's
age as well.
experience. Yeah. But then certain things, they just don't bother me as they used to in the past. Like, especially like I was very sensitive to disrespect, or was sensitive to people
Yeah.
who questioning the value or the hard work you put into something, or there were like little things that would really bother me in the past. Now I'm like, I don't know. There is like very little that could bring me to that sort of super like
I agree.
nervous place.
I agree.
So that part that has been, for me, this is the most helpful part. But I've also had a lot of changes this year. Since I started like full-time coaching, I started as a business coach. I was always business mentoring, business consulting, how to set up a business. This year, I think it's because of the work we do together, I slowly started to do more and more coaching, like leadership coaching.
Yeah.
And then without announcing anything, I had a lot of middle managers, and I noticed, okay, I do executive coaching, but not the C-level people, the managers who are line managers, who are like leading teams, whatever you want to call them, at the mid-level. And then I, for some reason, attracted a lot of supply chain people. And they also brought supply chain people also have very unique challenges in terms of supplier negotiation. They have their own sort of topics that is a bit outside work. So I gave a bit of consultancy there, and I was like, oh, I miss that stuff. I used to do these things. And
Yeah.
so there was a lot of that. But then at the same time, I also could not really let go of all the supporting coaches. So now I could say I have two lines of business. It's not like the typical business advice to have like two niches or two lines of business. But for me, they complement each other because, for me, being a leadership coach teaches me so much, but then helping other leadership coaches grow their business or be better coaches, that is also something that's a new skill. And I've been doing some sort of guest talks for ICF, International Coaching Federation, around that. And I kind of feel like I need these two parts. And in summer, I was mostly working with leadership coaches who wanted to set up their businesses and develop programs. So in September, they could support more people. And now I'm kind of like the back to coaching managers again. It's something I have to find the right balance. But yeah, I'm kind of shifting between these two worlds, and sometimes, my brain stays in
I
one.
can imagine you have gotten much busier because you already had that entrepreneur segment with you.
Yeah.
And with all the changes that we have seen, I mean, it's not even an elephant in the room, right? Everybody knows what the market has been like. And of course, mid-management layer was affected the strongest.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, the people
Yeah.
who lost their jobs were especially in this kind of a segment. And of course, now even the entry-level jobs are facing similar kind of threats. So I know you've had your hands full for the last couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, actually, the last few weeks, I was mostly working with the coaches. I had like a group program It's called Leader to Coach, and it's basically for people who are in corporate but want to do coaching on the side of the business. But before that, and also the one-on-one client, there is really something going on in the middle management layer. There is a lot of job loss. There is a lot of uncertainty. Those who have their jobs, they don't know like what is the future. There are a lot of talks around mid-level. It is disappearing. It's going to the AI. And yes, it's a very expensive headcount for the companies that you kind of in the middle, and you cost a lot for the company. So you have to really serve a purpose. And I don't know about other countries or how it is like, but most of the people I know, not only they have to manage and coach their teams, they also have a lot of operational work to do. So they are actually involved directly with some projects themselves. So they have the operational stuff, the strategic stuff, the team topics, the pressure from the top, the challenges from below, and everybody, it's like they're a little dragged in different directions. It's a very interesting area, and I have enjoyed listening to what
To all
people
the
share.
stories. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's an idea. And this, I am just saying this. This is something we haven't discussed yet. But maybe we bring these kind of positions more and more to our podcast, because then people will realize that it's not them, and this is not an isolated
Yeah.
experience that they are facing, because the challenges are quite similar. And I realized the more, and when we started the podcast, I was still at Accenture, I still remember, and I
Yeah.
was going through so many of these things that we used to actually talk about very organically on the podcast. And, we had so much to share, because all three of us have been in very similar situations and positions. And just talking with each other it just kind of makes you feel like, okay, I'm not alone, and this is something that's quite normal, and it happens to almost everyone who's been in this middle management game. And this is the longest game that you play.
Yes. Yes.
This
Exactly.
is the fattest layer, like you can say. It takes the longest to kind of navigate this layer till you are probably going into the partner levels, or you're going into the C levels. And then, of course, the challenges are a little bit different, but nevertheless, they just get more complicated, I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also, if you look at all the sort of organizations, there are like maybe handful of people on the top, like even with the university, and then the rest are just managers, and like they have to handle a lot of things. And so this is the layer that's where most of us will spend our
I
life
like
in.
it.
Yeah, but it's also something I find quite interesting that a lot of people also want to have something of their own on the side. Like they're thinking more about their personal brand, especially like younger people. I'm so amazed how smart they are. I look back like how I was at their age, like the early 20s. I was thinking, oh gosh, I wasn't thinking about any of this. I was just thinking, what is my next
What is
job
my
and
next
how to
job?
not get fired.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And then,
what is my next job? And when I found a job, how am I going to retain this job? It was as simple as that. But the young people today, they have these portfolio careers. Everybody's working and hustling, and they use all of these words. But it's pretty special also. Then because you and I also, we do multiple things together. And then seem to feel less alone, because more and more such professionals are in the industry at the moment.
yeah, yeah. And I work mostly with like people in their, let's say 30s,
Yeah.
35. They have like some experience. I've had a few cases of like younger ones who did their MBAs and they were just kind of new. But I do remember when you did that event at Accenture, when you celebrated 10 years of My Swiss Story, and you invited all of us, and I was there at the panel, which was really fun. You also had some of your students at the event, and they were so young and bright, and the questions were so smart. I really loved that, oh my God, they're so young, but the topics they are thinking about, and
I think
it's very mature.
I think this is one of the best things I like about my job, because when you are with people in similar, say, age groups, similar roles, kind of with similar life experiences also, even though culturally sometimes we are so different in these global roles, but you kind of are more agreeable with each other because, your experience levels are the same, unless you're, kind of just being difficult and not not wanting to agree with people. But with the younger people, they always give you this fresh perspective with things. Even when I'm teaching between my lectures, I will all of a sudden have these light bulb moments. Yes, that's a perfectly normal way of thinking. How come I did not come up with this? So these aha moments happen so much more when you are working with the younger generation, and I think Gen Z is extreme. Of course, we say a lot of things and they are crazy about certain things which we would never agree with. And I have a daughter who's a Gen Z now, but there's a lot to learn from this generation. I'm realizing this more and more, working with
Yes,
younger people so closely now.
yes, yeah, exactly. They think they're a bit more open-minded than us. I think they have less. They were raised with less strict sort of, I don't know, things to sort of follow, and maybe they have this safety within them. But at the same time, they have more worries for the future and how things may unfold. Their perspective, I find it quite interesting. Also, like that, how they are getting more leadership skills very early on, and in our time, we would go to, especially all of us, I mean, you, Anissa and I, we all studied technical stuff at university, engineering, and you just go study your field and then you find a job that is like technically for that job. And all the leadership stuff is either you have some mentor or some elder at work who will guide you a little bit, or things you learn from your parents, or whatever you kind of randomly know in common sense. That's your leadership skill. That's pretty much how I started. There was no proper leadership like training or coaching, definitely no coaching
Absolutely
back
not.
then.
Yeah.
You just suffered. You just sort of tried to make things work until like, yeah, somebody would, I don't know, guide you a little bit. But it was a lot of that was random, I think, because at least like at the time I was like in my reaching the mid-level, it was either you were really an underperformer, you would get some coaching and
Oh,
support
yeah.
to be saved
The
from
PIP
firing, or
programs. Yes, I remember.
yeah. Yeah, or you were like super high level, and C level, you get a proper executive coaching. But the ones in the middle, we just had mentors, like maybe a boss who was nice to you, and that was it. And we were kind of like orphan children,
Oh,
basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We were just figuring it out on our own, sometimes with really terrible experiences, which have now
Yeah,
become like lifelong lifelong learning, but also enough trauma to to have in
yeah,
our system that we will take with us while we navigate this funny world. But yeah, I mean, also I see that the new generation, and like you say, the 30s, and I'm also talking more about the 30s, they are more open to having they're very open to having therapy regularly, and they're very
yeah.
openly talking about it, whereas it is such a hush hush in our millennial
God.
segment. Oh, you go to a therapist, you must be crazy.
Yeah,
Not at all seen like that. And they are so open about, ADHD. They are so open about mental health, about anxiety, about taking a break, about just not turning up to work. And it's a refreshing perspective. I was like, nobody was stopping us from doing it. It's these rules and
yeah,
the boundaries that we put for ourselves. And so
yeah, yeah.
I think this openness is going to help the next coming generations as well. But because you mentioned my Swiss story, I have to also say that one of the biggest things that happened just before summer was when my Swiss story completed 10 years. And
Crazy.
oh my God, I still can't believe it. And I always say that this is not like a passion project or a nonprofit platform. And this is not just one part of my career. It's my second child. And this is so like a child, it has taken a lot from me, but it's
Yeah,
also given me a lot of joy. So it was wonderful. And for a small platform like ours to celebrate our 10 years at two amazing corporations or institutes, so to say, was also very heartwarming. Of course, we were there
yeah,
for the one at Accenture where you were along with two other Accenture panelists, and we had a full audience. Like as much as we could fit in, we had those people, and it was from really young people to old people, and again, these fresh perspectives is what we heard. The second one was, of course, at the institute that I work at now, so it was very academic in nature. While the topic was exactly the same, and by the way, guys, we discussed belonging in global careers, and
Yeah.
The perspectives are very different over there, because now we were speaking about people who have been at the university for 20 plus years. How do they feel? Because in the corporate world, 5 plus years is a long service award. At the
Yeah.
university, 20 plus years is also not not a big deal. It's quite normal that people stick in at universities, and lecturers are there in that same role for the longest time. So it was again a very, very beautiful discussion, and a great way to celebrate 10 years of My Swiss Story, because it's nothing, it's honestly has kind of boiled down to finding belonging in your workplace, in a new country, in a friend circle, in society, in so many things. So I think it was really thanks to a lot of other people as well that it was done so well.
Yeah, it was really good actually. I wasn't able to join the university one, which was a bit bigger, I think. But I think that the fact that you consistently you dedicated time to this platform, you were never sort of let it go. I don't think there was ever a time that you kind of let it go for 6 months. You always did something, even if it was little, to
Yes,
keep it alive.
indeed.
And that's the thing, to keep momentum, I have seen a lot of people in the meantime, because I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs or people who think it's easy. They start things with a lot of passion, and then at some point other things take over,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Not everyone knows what's going to happen, but they don't really stick with the thing for long enough. Because the reality is, like, it's not always easy. There are always like good times and bad times and challenges and all kinds of things. So the people who are able to play the long game in anything, you will see the results much later. And this is the fact, I think, that is less talked about these days,
Yeah.
because everyone wants to sell us like a quick win. I don't know, lose 10 kilos in a month, or become rich fast, or use AI to create 90 days of content and be famous and da da
Those
da.
passive income streams that
Yeah.
never there's nothing passive. I do not believe
Nothing
there's
passive.
nothing
Nothing
passive.
good is passive, unless you come from, like, I don't know, massive wealth or
Yes.
something, and you can hire people. Yes, it's like how Kardashians run the businesses. If you could hire a CEO who'd take care of everything and pay them a few,
Yeah.
like multiple 6-figure or 7-figure every year to deal with
Yeah.
things yourself, yeah, that's passive. But you start with some foundation, and a lot of people do not have that foundation, but then they want the passive thing. It just doesn't work. But I think that I really hope that we would have more honesty on internet, on social media, that people see there is a real world, and it's not all what you see
Yeah.
being promoted to you. That I also see a lot with coaches. Actually, a lot of people think they get a certificate and they become coaches, and suddenly they could be very rich, because it's a very easy to enter market. And it's not like that. Yes, everyone could call themselves coaches, but running a coaching business and making money out of it, that is a very different story. So yeah, there's nothing that's just,
Yeah.
but then when you do work that you really enjoy, it is meaningful, it has a purpose, it creates impact. I think that is really what we are here for.
Absolutely. And and this I can say it without Anisa being here, without even asking you this. We really love what we do. And this is
Yes.
why we keep putting in so many hours and still feeling happy about it. So if you
Yeah.
are in a job like that, blessed that all three of us are in situations like that right now, where of course there are bad days, of course there are bad times, of course there are difficult moments where you feel like, oh, this is just not working out. But overall, we really like what we do. And
Yeah.
this is why we keep doing it. And there are certain parts of our job which are completely non-monetary. For me, My Swiss Story overall is it just gives me so much happiness, and you can't put a price to that. And I know there are
Yeah.
so many components in what Anisa does with her art and her mindfulness and her resilience, and so many things that Sara you do, and all these group coachings that you do sometimes for almost nothing. But it just gives us so much this sense of value and purpose. Yeah, this is why we do what
Yeah.
we do.
Exactly. And that is, like, instead of searching for passive do nothing, it's better to search for something that brings joy. This summer, I was also traveling a lot. My mother was visiting me after some time. We were going to a lot of places, and some days I still had my programs. It was still kind of light, but some days we would just go hiking, come home, or come to whatever hotel we had to go. And then I would just bring my laptop, or sometimes even just my phone, do my group coaching call, and then go back to the whole, to catch up with the vacation. And my mom was thinking, oh, you're working in vacation. I was like, it's just, I'm just talking to people. It doesn't feel like work when the work you do is like fun and enjoyed. And it was a nice group. It was not like a challenging sort of topic. So also, I think the whole work-life balance means differently when you have that kind of work, because you're not like feeling under pressure to mix it a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, in October, I'm going on, I call it workation, that I go to like a location. My husband can enjoy the time a little bit, but I do a bit of work while we are there. And okay, I end up not doing as much work as planned, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay to have I like do coaching while I'm on vacation. It's not, but I wasn't like that, let's say 10 years ago.
Same.
Because like there were like people who were pushy at projects and didn't enjoy the company of certain people. So yeah, it was different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best way to end this, right? It's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
Do things that you really like, and then you'll keep enjoying them. And of course, of course, there are going to be some really difficult moments and bad moments. But overall, if you like what you do, then you will keep wanting to do it. And that's why we don't call ourselves as martyrs, like, oh, we do so much. And no, we like doing it, and that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, it's also not like we're not promoting any sort of hustle, make a million here and there. Yeah, it's very important to make enough to live like a good life. But we are also here for purpose and meaning and joy and doing things that you were born to do. And yeah, I think is the biggest privilege that actually we are able to do this.
Yes.
That's, yeah. Yeah, so we are reaching the kind of the end of this conversation, but we just thought we will make this time, come here to just say hello to you, and hopefully next one, Anisa would also be back from holiday and join us, and we'll hopefully have a new season, and we will be more consistent with showing up. But even when we don't show up here, we are still on social media, and we just love to stay connected. So please get in touch if you have any ideas, anything you'd like to talk about.
Of course, we would love to hear ideas from you guys. If you have a particular topic that you want us to speak about, we'd be happy to do it, the three of us. Also, if there are guests that you want to nominate, people that you want us to bring to the podcast, you can always comment their names or send us a DM. You can connect us with Sara, with me, with Anisa on LinkedIn, or on our other social media channels, maybe on Instagram as well, where, you get to see our individual personalities and what we are up to. But also, we come together a lot. So we would love it. I think this would also encourage us to show up more and more if we hear back feedback from you guys. Also, areas where we could improve. We love hearing feedback. So
yes, indeed. Yes. And of course, I love the idea of nominating guests. There are a lot of people who want to be on our podcast. Some of them we also love to, some also we don't know so well. I mean, we do have that as well. But yeah, if there's anyone you like us to talk to, please let us know. And yeah, that would be great. So looking forward to many more episodes in near future in the very busy Q4. And hopefully we'll be back very soon. So that was it from my side. Yeah. Pragati,
that was
have
it
anything
from
to
my
add?
side as well. So bye, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.